Let's turn our attention back now to the government's fight with Elon Musk and Twitter. Joining me now is the Shadow Assistant Minister for Regional Health, Anne Webster. Thanks for your time. And what do you think should happen in relation to what the Parliament can and should do to ensure standards are met by Elon Musk and his social media platform?
Well, thanks for having me, Kieran. The coalition put in place and gave particular powers to the E-Safety Commissioner, and they ought to be respected by our global investors, because that's what they are. They're investing in our funding community, if you like, in Australia, and they ought to be able to obey the law of Australia. It's how that's done is the question. My first point is that we ought to be treating social media platforms just like every other publisher, as we have for decades, for 100 years, 200 years, and there ought to be standards that they must comply with. The situation that we have now is that we have global investors who are not obeying the law of the land, and they have ways to manage this, including geo-blocking, and to say that they can't do that in Australia is a nonsense.
Yeah, well, when other tech companies like Microsoft or Meta have acted constructively with the authorities and security agencies, but Elon Musk is taking a very different approach, Anne Webster.
Yes, well, so it appears, and, you know, inevitably he benefits from subsidies, he benefits from being able to offer Twitter in Australia, and he needs to, you know, obey the laws of Australia in this instance. I've got to say, you know, Meta have taken quite a long time to come to the table and do the right thing. Back in 2021, I actually put up a private member's bill, having gone through an awful defamation court case, which I won, and that defamation information was being portrayed on Meta. My argument is Meta should be treated as a publisher. Elon Musk should be treated as a publisher. They have the ability to manage what comes out.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and hopefully our laws can start to keep up with where the technology is. Now, today I know you've been focusing on a parliamentary inquiry into the government's plans for a biosecurity protection levy for agriculture. What's your problem with it? I thought that Nationals would welcome a bit more funding, certainty, and as the government argues, it's equitable, this approach, in terms of a levy to pay for the biosecurity that is crucial to our ag sector.
Well, I guess you've got to ask the question, Kieran, in what parallel universe does a government ask its own farmers to fund the risks brought in by their international competitors? It's a crazy land. And the thing is that Labor are looking to put this funding into general revenue. They've given no indication about how it will be spent. As it stands, I have 7,000 farmers and farm managers across my own electorate who will be impacted by this. It is another levy. It's another dipping into what Labor have come to see as the piggy bank of farmers across Australia. It's just not fair, and it's not reasonable. The Nationals' approach has been that we should have a levy on every container that comes into Australia. That means that those who are bringing the risk therefore pay the dollars to be able to manage that risk.
And just finally, almost out of time, but you do want and you do recognise that more money needs to go into biosecurity.
Oh, look, absolutely. Biosecurity is a huge risk. You will have seen the fire ant issue up in the north, and that needs to be managed for all might. The biosecurity risks that Australia faces are very significant, but it shouldn't be our own farmers who are paying solely for managing that. It ought to be those who are bringing the risks into Australia.
Nationals frontbencher Anne Webster, thanks. Appreciate it.